Sports. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network. Woodward Sports.
We don't need it.
Hey, let's go. Thursday show, April 17th, 2025. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, we say good afternoon to you. If you're watching on X, hopefully you're enjoying this beautiful sunshiny day. I want to welcome Ben Johnson, the Ben Johnson Law Firm. They were in earlier today, and we had a great conversation and just want to feature their emblem and their logo here on the back wall as we begin the show to show our appreciation towards them. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon to you too, man. I come on here and forget to mention a lot of times run into people, whether I was at the movies, whether I'm at Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential, or other places like that, and you see fans that come up to you, hey, and I'm like, okay, here we go. They want to tell me where they were October 2004. I love your show. I love your show. Maz gets the most love, but they love our show, man. So to all the people, Chris Reed was at the movies the other day. Appreciate you guys. Keep tuning in and feel free to come up to us and give us your feedback, man. We love that. We want to be the best show that we can be for the people. That's why we started this network. So I appreciate all that feedback. Feeling good, feeling great. A chaotic day, but guess what? Sunshine and Lord's good.
And just as, you know, for the people out there who may not understand what October 2004 means, if you need any reminder, that is a 3-touchdown game for Braylon Edwards.
It's just called the Braylon game.
The Michigan Wolverines beat Michigan State in overtime.
I'm not trying to be arrogant at all. Like
the Braylon game.
When I first moved back home from Miami in 14, you move away, you don't know. You don't realize what it is. And I came up, everybody wanted to talk about that game. I'm like, it's in the past. But now when I see people, all they want to know is, like, they want to ask about the heavyweights. Maz, they want to ask about Pete Spivak. Like, why is he so nuts? Like, it's like,
we don't got to talk about that game.
my residence party. Yeah. So with that being said, man, appreciate all the love, man. I'm excited to be here with you guys. Spin Mo Rack still in the building. So Tom Mazawey, man, how you feeling? Looking good. Mighty
Maz, man. I'm great. Hey, we got some great meetings today. And
money.
Gorgeous day. We want to say hello to Brownell Junior High and Grosse Pointe. We're going to talk to them in a little bit. Hello, gang, from Birmingham, Michigan to Grosse Pointe, Michigan. We're all here, and it was great to hear Brad Holmes today talking about the draft. And it's here, guys. It's a week away in Green Bay. I hope they get weather like this.
Ricky Burns in the house. Spenny is with us as well. Spenny, great to have you on the show today. Look, 1 week from tonight, round 1 of the NFL draft, and I'll tell you, the goose pimples start to go on the little hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up a little bit, because I'm telling you, this football team was so close, and I know they lost to Washington last year and didn't win a playoff game, but a 15-win regular season. Braylon, this football team was so close to competing for and winning a Super Bowl, and now that you see the way Brad Holmes is going to do it, just big picture, he is going to build through the draft. He is going to continue through the draft. Whoever they draft next Thursday night, this could be pretty exciting to think about this. This could be the person that is the final piece to a Super Bowl championship puzzle, could potentially have that aura. And Brad Holmes did speak with the media today, and we're going to play some of those clips in just a second. But Braylon, just your big picture take on where you see this football team a week out ahead of the NFL draft.
I think they're in good position. I think they're in good space. I think early on in this offseason, and got to thinking about, hey, look, we got to get Myles Garrett, or we got to get a guy on the other side. The defensive line, and Aleem McNeil coming back from injury, Davenport, DJ Reader, Aiden Hutchinson. You think about how that season ended. It's like you got to get a defensive presence. Moving off from that, I see what Brad Holmes is doing. We're getting into the time of year where he has the most success is the draft. It's free agency. So I'm excited. I'm excited because he tends to go get the players that they have pegged. And their players that they pegged, they're usually not on the radar of other people. They go after their guys. The RAS score, I know, is very big for them. So
injuries.
True. Very true, Maz. But I feel confident because that team was a damn good team last year, 15-2 with 24 injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So you look at it that way, and you look at the confidence and the patience. I mean, look at a lot of the coaches at the coaches' meetings, sweating, on the hot seat, not showing up. There's none of that going on in Detroit. Brad Holmes is calm, very confident. We'll hear from him. And then Dan Campbell. He's not taking the hat off and rubbing his hair. Everybody seems to be comfortable, confident. And this is where Brad Holmes wins, and he's shown us that for 4 years.
History is usually a good predictor of the future as well. And I'm going to play Brad Holmes for you, talking about moving up or down in the draft, because this is a guy and a staff, really, that identifies a player and usually goes to get said player. He is willing to do whatever it takes to go get the player he identifies could help this team. He moved up from pick 32 to pick 12, a huge jump to get Jamison Williams. He moved up last year a couple of spots. He identified Terrion Arnold as that guy that he wanted at cornerback. He moved up to get him. Here's Brad Holmes.
Giovanni Manu.
And Giovanni Manu. Here's Brad Holmes on talking about moving up or even down in the NFL draft next week.
Just depends, who might be in striking range, who might, so it could be moving back. It could just be, just staying patient. It could be, didn't think that this guy, didn't go up. So, you be prepared for everything. So you go through all those scenarios, and then you just kind of got to be ready for anything. But it's just, you said, you're always trying to figure out what we're going to do. I don't, when, a movie comes out, right? I don't understand. When you go to see a movie, you don't know what you've never seen the movie. That's the excitement. And so you're fine just watching the movie. And then it's whether the movie's good or bad, and then you can do that. But I don't understand why people can't just watch the draft. And it's all right, I don't know what's going to happen, but watch the draft and get your popcorn ready and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
So earlier today, I was at Fox 2, and I read the quote. When you read the quote, get your popcorn ready, sit back, and relax. That is a much different read than when you hear Brad Holmes say that in that context. Yeah. Context is everything.
It is. You thought when you read it, oh, my God, we're going to move up. We are going to smash it. Right. We're going to get Abdul Carter. Yeah. But when you sit back, you kind of know we're not going to do anything.
Right. He said it's going to be like a But here's why I want to come to Braylon. Here's why I want to come to Braylon, because, Braylon, you talked about this guy yesterday. And it just speaks to this was a 25-minute press conference. I listened to all 25 minutes of it. And it was some great questions. As far as beat writers go, Lions beat writers are I think, collectively the best group of reporters that cover a team. They're great reporters. But Braylon talked about this yesterday, and it's one player, and I'll let him tell you who that is. But just the idea of Brad Holmes is going to do what's best for this organization. He said, and you'll hear him say this when I play this for you in a couple of minutes, but he's like, okay, everybody wants us to take a defensive end, okay? Fine. But what if that defensive end can't play? But I got a defensive end. Oh, you're looking for a 6'4", 250-pound tight end. Okay, I could take one of those, but can he play? He is going to do the best. He is going to make the best possible pick, not only player-wise, but how the fit is. It's a puzzle piece to put guys on an NFL team and make that puzzle piece fit to perfection. Braylon, you mentioned a guy yesterday.
I did, yes. Yesterday we had the whole mock. It was fun. It was AI and Braylon, and it was laugh because Shedeur Sanders to the Falcons, Quinn Ewers to the Minnesota Vikings. But the underlying message from yesterday is the same. Jalon Walker is the player that I think I want. Let me throw some names out there for you. Trayvon Walker. You know that name?
Yes.
You know that name? Okay. He's okay, right? 24 sacks in 3 years in the NFL. Nolan Smith. You know that name?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Jalen Carter. Oh, I know we know that name. I
heard of him.
Yeah, I know we know that name. Number 6 overall, but he's neither here nor there. N'Kobe Dean. Jordan Davis. Does that name ring a bell?
They're all Eagles.
Azeez Ojulari. Does that name ring a bell? These are all defensive linemen that have played at Georgia in the last 4 years. I can go down a list of other players that played on the offensive side, Brock Bowers, but I don't need to do that. You know what the formula is. It works at Georgia. Just like you trust Nick Saban, the players, how many Alabama players do we have? Because you trusted the format. Yeah. It's the same thing with Kirby Smart. The Georgia players have success. You want to rush in, he's the guy. Jalon Walker, shorter guy, I told you what it was yesterday. He's 6'2", he's 250, 252. Dynamic hands, dynamic arms, long arms. The things that he can do on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson will help. He is a guy that is just going to get the quarterback. That's all you need. You don't need another Aiden Hutchinson because you have Aiden Hutchinson. You want a guy that can rush the edge, and I think this is the player for you. Sometimes you got to pay attention to what works. The Georgia defensive line, the Georgia defensive players, with the exception of maybe Keely Ringo, who we're still trying to see what he has, they work. This is a formula and a format that work. Whatever it is with Georgia, and while we won't draft the Georgia players, maybe it's DeAndre Swift and it didn't work out here in Detroit. But the Georgia defensive line, as currently constructed, Trey Smith is a wizard down there in Athens, Georgia. You've seen it time and time again. I think Trayvon Walker is much better than he is shown. He's just in the wrong defensive scheme, I think, Spenny. So Jalon Walker will be the move. I told you how you can get up there to get him at 15. The trade details, I don't need to read those again.
But Braylon, even the trade details outside, that they have shown that they'll move from 32 to 12. It almost feels like it doesn't matter. If they have that player that they want to go get, Brad Holmes will go get him.
100%. And look, I just think that he's a player. I think he's perfect for this team. He's physical. You watch him on film. He moves around like Micah Parsons. Like, he puts left tackles in a bind. This is definitely the type of energy you need. He's aggressive. He reminds me of Brian Branch, how the way he plays with a reckless abandonment. But at the same time, he's skilled. He's laid back. So I think this could be a very good pick for him. We need an edge rusher. I did some homework on this one. This wasn't just let me throw that out there. Ryan had, whose mock draft did you have here? Field Yates.
Field Yates and Mel Kiper.
Field Yates has him at 8. I didn't even know that when I brought the conversation in yesterday. So this is just watching some film. This is going back watching the Alabama game. This is going back 2 years ago watching some other games. So I like this guy, and I think he's a good fit.
The question is, can they get up to get him? And he's not going to last till 28. And you don't listen, guys.
But there was a trade yesterday.
Yes, I know. But Brad Holmes, he could say what he wants, but he can't sign all the great players that he has drafted in the last 3 years. We can't keep them all. We can't. You still have to pay Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, and Jahmyr Gibbs. You have to pay all those guys. It's almost impossible. So, in this draft, he's going to be looking for players to possibly take over for one or two of those guys. So I wouldn't be shocked if he took a safety, knowing he can't sign both Branch and Kirby Joseph. I want a defensive end. I'm one of those guys in that room that told him, we're the guys that sit here and we complain. We're the GMs. We know more than you, Brad. At least that's what we think. We want more. To get this guy, Bray, if you're on it, I'm on it as well.
Can I just say,
stick with Georgia and Alabama. Stick with them.
Can I? In imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. Steven in the chat. Stephen David, great observation today. Brad is so annoyed with the internet GMs trying to force him to draft for need, and that was the general theme in the 25 minutes of this press conference today.
He's pissed.
Brad Holmes was very. I don't want to. He wasn't annoyed. It was more he was fed
up.
He wasn't fed up. It was playful. It was like comical. That's the word I'm looking for. It was comical what his approach was. He's like, how many different ways are you guys going to ask me if we're going to take a defensive end in this draft? He is going to take the best player. And just a point about player from Georgia. His name escaped me.
Jalon Walker.
Jalon Walker.
Jalon Walker,
yeah. So, and here's where people will come at us for it. Maybe it's not Jalon Walker. Maybe it's somebody else. Yeah. Maybe it's Mike Green. Okay?
Shamar Stewart.
Maybe it's Shamar Stewart. Yeah. The idea is the same. The formula is the same. Identify a player, and again, maybe the player himself is wrong, but you've identified a player, be it Green, be it Walker, be it Stewart, be it whoever, and that's the formula you take to go get them. And it's kind of like 2 years ago in the draft when one of the things that I was basing my whole draft opinion on was do what you do good and make it great. Make your great offense even greater. Draft Bijan Robinson. And so my method was great. My method was right. I just got the wrong player.
Yeah.
So however Brad Holmes identifies the player, I think, Braylon, what I'm trying to say is your method to get there is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people have a problem with people doing the show. Like, at the end of the day, what I saw as a former NFL football player with my own two eyes is that the defensive line, they got a bunch of hurries, but they didn't get sacks. They didn't get the quarterbacks on the ground. And then all four of them, by the way, are hurt. Like, they're hurt. The fastest way for the Detroit Lions is to get another guy on the other side. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to do Brad Holmes' job. He's done a phenomenal job at doing his job. You see that by 15-2. They won NFC. The year before that, and we get all that. But what I saw during the season, and what I also saw is, regardless of injuries or not, they lost at home in the playoff game to the Commanders. So it would behoove me not to come up here and try to come up with a formula for a player that I want and think I need. I think the defensive end is the position of need, and I think it's the one that I want them to address because they've shown me in the past that they've traded up 3 times, by the way. Then now I put the trade in there, and I saw a way to trade up, and that's what I came up with. I apologize if he got offended, but I don't know why he's so angry. He's done a phenomenal job. Everybody loves him, and he'll hit again in a couple of days. I don't know why everybody's so mad, including him.
Well, he's just looking at us like we don't know what we're talking about. He's the boss.
Why is he giving it so much? Why is he giving it so much attention? Is what I'm saying.
He's kind of laughing it off, I guess. But nonetheless, of those guys I just told you about, the guys that the Lions have drafted, out of those 6 players that I threw out there to you, and I could do it again if you need me to, who can they live without? Jahmyr Gibbs?
I don't think they can live without Gibbs.
They can't.
I think they can live without J-Mo.
Me too. Jameson, Jack Campbell, we don't know yet because
No,
still got
they
time.
cannot live without Jack Campbell.
Still got time. Kirby?
I'll put Laporta and J-Mo in there.
You don't think they're going to pay?
Yeah,
I don't think they'll
you're
pay
right.
Laporta when his time comes up.
Yeah.
I think they'll do to him what they did with Hawkinson. I think
Perhaps.
they'll go out and get another freaking tight end.
Perhaps they could. And you know, it's interesting.
Brian Branch? I'm not letting him go.
I wouldn't let Joseph or Branch go personally.
Wow.
I
I
agree.
I don't think you can have a Legion of Boom for the next 10 years, essentially, back there.
Wow.
You pair Hutchinson. Just think about this defense for a minute, okay? If you have Hutchinson, Campbell, and the 2 safeties, you can do whatever you want defensively at that point. Every level, you are elite. You have an elite player at every level of your defense on the line, in the middle, and the secondary. You have elite players there. Now, just going back to something you said about not being able to pay everybody. I thought Burkett asked a tremendous question today, and it's one I didn't even consider. So I want to give him credit. And the idea was, because you have all of these guys that you probably cannot pay, you are going to have some attrition with maybe one of the 6 Pro Bowlers that you've drafted over the last 4 years. Does that impact your ability to trade up in this draft? Because I think what he was trying to say was, and Brad Holmes understood the question, are you going to give up 2 or 3 draft picks, which could equate to 2 to 3 good players that you will have to fill and replace for one guy to go for it 1 year? It was an interesting, I guess, it was something. It was a big picture look at really a team and how they're being built. Because you're not just building a team for 1 year. You do have to look down the road, and can you afford to give up 2 or 3 draft picks, which could be, again, 2 or 3 really good players that could play for you on cheap contracts and replace.
You could say that, Rye, but I'm going to ask you the question that you put out to everyone. Would you give up X amount to win 1 Super Bowl?
I would.
So would I.
I would. Too.
I would.
So would I.
I'm not sure they would though. That's the disconnect, Braylon. I think that is the answer that a lot of us are trying to figure out about this organization. And to be honest with you, I don't know the answer. And I can't even speculate on the answer. It does not feel like they are willing to mortgage any type of future to go for it for 1 year. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You know, I mean, I'd like a Super Bowl. I just don't know if you can have your cake and eat it too. I don't know if you can draft, win a Super Bowl, and be good for the next 6, 7, 8 years, and then compete for another Super Bowl. Show me the team that can do that without a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I just don't know. I don't believe that.
Well, I think part of it is, look, man, the Holy Trinity works perfect. It's a well-oiled machine. Sorry, guy, I'm not talking about you in this particular one. I'm talking about Sheila, Dan, Brad. It works, correct? I guarantee you, Sheila, who used to be Sheila Ford, has been around forever and seen the team do what? Lose. So finally you have them now in the space where they're winning. I guarantee you her thing is, look, I don't care. We're not mortgaging it all because I want to be good forever. I never want to go back to the days where we were the laughing stock, where we had to put the bags on our head in 2008. So, yeah, there's a lot that we're not going to spend because we know what it's like to be on the other side. I want to go back to the Jameson conversation. It's just such an
I knew you would.
100%. Because I just don't understand, there's so much with him. Like, when he's doing good, oh, yeah, that's our guy. We love him. But when it comes to the money, well, he kind of messes up. I don't know. I wouldn't bring him back. I heard somebody say they would trade J-Mo this year before the season started. Now, I know he's an egghead, but just that type of vitriol I just don't understand. Brad Holmes alluded to the fact that wide receivers are a dime a dozen.
He did.
And and it rubbed me the wrong way.
He did today.
But you know what? It's okay because I got patience.
And he didn't use that language, but
I know what he meant.
that was the insinuation.
So to Brad Holmes and to anybody else out there who wants to get rid of J-Mo, I challenge you. All those defensive players that I named from Georgia, all those players that I named, 3 years ago they were in the same national championship game. And J-Mo would have won that game damn near by himself if he didn't tear his ACL. They were winning that game. J-Mo was the difference maker in that game. 1,549 yards, 19.9 yards a catch, 15 touchdowns. That's why you moved up 20 picks to get J-Mo. And then you've watched him. You've had him. You've been there for him. You supported him. You watched him become a better version of himself. You're watching in real time him be a better version of himself. J-Mo got more playoff touchdowns than Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you want to be honest. Like, every playoff, who shows up? Every time. When we tried to come back against the 49ers, 2 touchdowns. Last year, reversed for 60. So just when you say anybody can come in here and beat J-Mo, I want you to pause for the cause and really think deep about who he is, where he's coming.
Anytime you do a list.
Well done.
Well list. Done. That was great. Braylon, that was tremendous.
Very well said.
Anytime you do a list, though, it feels like where you have to eliminate somebody. Yeah. I don't care what list it is. On this list, it's a list of 6 players on the Lions that are about to get paid.
No, I forgot to put Hutchin in. It's 7.
Yeah. But again, which list of 6 guys do you not want to pay? Which one? It's like what is it? What is it? Kiss, marry, or kill?
Yeah, right.
Like that.
Way to clean that up, Ryan.
It's like, how do you do it?
Can I ask a question?
And it feels like, yes, you may, but it feels like anytime you have one of those lists, you have to knock somebody down.
Makes me feel dirty.
Yes.
Spence, I want to ask you this question. I want you to answer this.
Okay.
If J-Mo does not have gambling, Brothers Gun, Coney Island at 1:30 in the morning, which I don't know why that was a thing. Right. If he doesn't have that, all he has is the ACL injury. Are we still having this conversation about getting rid of J-Mo?
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't know. Probably because he hasn't done it yet, and you already paid a wide receiver $30 million a year. Jameson Williams, when his contract comes up, he's going to be looking at $35 million a year.
I think, Spenny, I think that is a part of it. I think you have to consider that because if I tell you Gibbs J-Mo, Branch, Joseph. Who are you getting rid of?
Here's my question: how long is Dave Montgomery gonna be on the team?
2 more years.
2 more years.
Because if it's just J-Mo, if
2
it's
more
just
years.
Jameer, all right.
Oh, my God.
You see what I'm
You
saying?
are not getting rid of Jameer Gibbs.
I'm just saying, like, if Dave Montgomery's not here, like Jameer,
He's two more years.
David Montgomery ain't Jameer
the
Gibbs.
the value. I'm not. You're missing what I'm saying.
Okay,
the
let him
value of
finish.
Jameer, it goes up because he has Dave Montgomery. But if Jameer Gibbs is just brunting the load, is what I was saying. Like, it's a different thing.
But that's my point, though. If I give you a list of 4, assuming that Laporta's gone too, I'm not even putting Laporta
You don't
in
need
this
Laporta.
list.
You don't need
I'm not
Laporta.
even putting
He
Laporta
didn't
here.
even show up last year.
I'm not putting Laporta or Campbell here because I think those two guys. Well, no, I would even put Campbell in there. Okay, get rid of one guy: Gibbs, J-Mo, Branch, Joseph, Campbell.
J-Mo, because you can pay Montgomery, Gibbs, and Laporta.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
can
I'm
pay
saying.
two of those guys as
But
much
but
as
you
J-Mo
didn't
costs.
you didn't have to talk badly about J-Mo to make that point. I mean, it almost feels dirty,
If the
as
Ch-
you said,
Yeah.
to try
If
to
the
get rid of
Chiefs can move on
somebody.
from Tyreek Hill, nobody's safe at the wide receiver.
There you
Very
go.
true. That's very
I think they knew what they were doing, by the way.
Yeah.
No doubt. Burton, $5. We all brag about wanting knuckleheads because talent is all that matters. Then we get J-Mo, who's a bit of one and whine about it constantly.
He's so
I don't
good.
think. I mean,
But he's so
none of that extracurricular stuff for J-Mo factors into a reason why, on a list of 5 Lions players, you can keep 4. Who you getting rid of? That's where J-Mo enters this conversation.
Yes, he has a couple of things that you put in the list. But let me ask you one question: is he a repeat offender in any of one of those things?
No.
No, but I mean, again, that all that aside, just football reasons why.
Football.
I
Football.
do agree with Braylon when he says, like, people that say anybody can do what J-Mo does, you can put in, you can't. There are only maybe 3 people in the NFL that could do what Jameson Williams does.
Facts.
And the only reason the Lions only had to trade up 20 spots to get him
Right.
was because he tore his ACL.
No
they would
doubt.
have had to trade up 25 spots to get him if he was coming out healthy.
Hell
No doubt.
Can they go 20 up now and go get Abdul Carter?
Well, we'll
it's not
find out. Maybe that's something we can look at. Guys, we'll take a break, continue on with the NFL talk. Brad Holmes as well. Plus, we're going to bring in our friends from Brownell. It's career day over there. But first, a message from Dr. Pierce.
Oh, Dr. Pierce. He'll be joining us today from Michigan Sports and Spine. You know him. You love him. We love him as well. He joins us every Tuesday right here on Big D Energy. And, of course, the big show here on Thursdays. We'll talk about him. He tries to keep you in the game, playing at your best. And he's got that special sauce to keep you in the game. You know how to get a hold of him. 248-426-9944 or check him out online, MichiganSportsAndSpine.com.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone. The boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports. Head to woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com. Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Hey, gang, ordering pizza tonight? How about Buddy's? Buddy's Pizza's been serving the original Detroit-style pizza since 1946. 79 years later, 22 locations in the state of Michigan, and fans can still visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. We are actually going to be doing a show there pretty soon in the coming weeks. Sign up for Buddy's Rewards to earn points on every purchase, receive exclusive promotions as well. Download the Buddy's Pizza mobile app. Start earning today. Add some Detroit style to your next meal. Save 10% on your entire order by using the promo code 10MEAL. That's the number 10, MEAL. Buddy'sPizza.com. Buddy'sPizza.com. All right, we're going to continue on with Lions here, but before we do that, I want to bring in our friends from Brownell Middle School in Grosse Pointe. Absolutely. What's up, everybody?
Oh, wow.
Yes, it is career day over there. Roger Hunwick is the principal at Brownell. Roger Hunwick, mind you, was my football coach back at Grosse Pointe South back in the day as well.
I got to ask him the question.
Coach, I call him Coach. Mr. Hunwick, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. I don't know if the audio is working all that great, but Braylon, feel free to ask a question.
Coach Hunwick, I got to ask you the question, man. He always his greatest claim to fame is that he never came out of the game. So I want to validate this, Coach Hunwick. Did Ryan Ermanni indeed stay in the game all the time?
Yes!
It's official.
All right, respect.
It's solidified.
Respect.
Now, for all you students over there, at Brownell, now you know Mr. Hunwick is your principal. For me, I know him as my football coach. You were just hearing us talk about the Lions. How many people think the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl next year? Give me a hands up. Oh, we got. Is there a consensus on who you want the Lions to pick?
I don't think the guy in the front row was real sure in the red. He was like, they made it. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a half a hand up.
Yeah.
Is there a consensus on who you want them to pick?
Brody is debating whether they should go with a defensive end, or he's thinking maybe we need to stiffen up our secondary.
See, that's what I'm talking about now. When I said we need to draft a defensive end, I got pushback from everybody. Even the kids at Grosse Pointe, they understand. That's what I'm talking about, man. They know what they're doing. Secondary is also a good another point.
Now, how many of you kids have ever seen this guy play football here? One of the greatest wide receiver to ever play for Michigan, and made it to 2 AFC championship games with the New York Jets. Do you know who this guy is over here?
They're too young. Oh, we got some hands up there.
Okay. Yeah, that's a couple hands.
Tell your parents I said thank you.
Hey, how many Michigan fans are out there?
Go
Who
Blue,
loves
baby.
the Wolverines?
That's what. There we go. It's great.
And I don't know that Braylon Edwards remembers this, but he was one of the better wide receivers I got to see play at Bishop
Gallagher. He watched you play at Bishop Gallagher.
You watched me play at Bishop Gallagher. What game did you come to?
You came to Grosse Pointe North and scrimmaged us.
Oh. What? How did it end? It was it a fun scrimmage? Who won?
I don't think we kept score because Coach Sahin said, don't do that.
I can barely hear you. Hey, Coach, let me tell you, it's career day over there. You guys are in the great auditorium over there.
That's a beautiful place.
Absolutely. We do need to come pay your class a visit real soon, one of these days. I promise we're going to make that happen,
Bring some
okay?
pictures and jerseys.
All right, let's hear it from the Ermanni and Edwards show.
Thank you so much. And if you guys if you could ever get Mr. Hunwick to take you on a big field trip, you guys are all welcome here to our studios in Birmingham. I'll put you on
we
the
got a
spot
couch.
there.
We can just sit them all in the back.
We'll do that. We'll do that. Coach, I got to let you go. Everybody at Brownell, have a great day.
I hope you guys are out the rest of the school day.
All right, good job. Thank
Go
you.
Blue.
Yes, sir.
See you, gang.
How awesome is that, huh?
Oh, man.
Great. I heard some of the stuff. I heard.
He watched
Gallagher.
you play at Gallagher.
Oh man.
What do you
said
remember?
he-
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny because, been out of, I don't want to say, Braylon, you get mad when I age you, but
No, no.
Been out of high school for over 25 years now.
Hey man, why you got age?
But when people go back and say, I saw you at, this point, maybe it was the West Side Cubs in the Detroit Pal League.
at you.
Maybe it was with Gallagher.
Yeah.
And then obviously at Michigan, I know that makes you feel some kind of way because you were memorable enough back then to have somebody remember you. I think that's fantastic.
What I love about it is because now I get it. Spence, did you go see Trey McKinney play this year?
Yes, I did.
I also went to see Trey McKinney play. Shout out Trey McKinney, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, soon to be University of Michigan. But he was a sought-after player. You went to see him play because he's the best player in the state. For someone to tell me they went to see me play at Gallagher when I was not the best player in the state until the season was over, if you will. I was coming out of King where it didn't work for me. Gallagher was just a prayer. It was a hope. I grew, went to Haiti. He taught me how to play the game. Rest in peace. So we had Paul in the studio.
right.
So whenever I hear Gallagher, there's a different it's a different type of feeling I get. When you say King, I'm like, I appreciate it. But all right, but Gallagher is you came to Gallagher? I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Maz.
I was just going to know.
I was just going to say, and then the Michigan game, too. We mentioned the Braylon game as, a big picture kind of thing. Anybody that was
Sorry,
watching
Spence.
anybody that
Ryan
was watching that game,
Oh.
anybody that was watching that game or anybody that was at that game has a story about it. They have a memory about it. They have their own version of it. They tell their friends and their family over a beer or whatever, over a Diet Coke, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're eating some chicken wings watching football. Hey, remember the Braylon game? I was there. That's pretty cool stuff.
Remember we talked to, oh my God, he's going to kill me. Jack, Goki.
Oh, Jack.
When we talked to Jack,
Yeah,
and
from
remember
Oakland.
Remember we were talking about that zone? Remember he was talking about the zone he was in the Kentucky game when he hit 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. I think it was 8 threes and then get the win. That's called the zone. And when you go to the zone, you just blink out. You're not there. You're out. Your body's operating. You're doing the things when I was in that game, I was just operating in the space. I was in the zone. I didn't come to until literally you'll see a play. I caught the touchdown to go into overtime. You see Carl Tabb come up to me and hit me on the sideline. I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't there. The game is over. My mom comes up and hugged me. When I got the hug from my mom when the game was over, that's when I kind of oh,
Wow.
wait.
What did I do?
So that I never tell that part. I legitimately was in that zone. So when Goki came out, I wanted to ask that question. I know you went to the zone. What was it like?
Hey, speaking of the zone, yesterday the heavyweights talked about Bryce Underwood. And Bryce Underwood was in the news over a picture of his. And I'm not sure if you have it, Spenny, but
I can
if
grab it
you,
real
I
quick.
hate this.
I mean, people were saying, hey, looks like this kid has been at Zingerman's a few times, quite a number of times. And supposedly he's in the weight room working out hard. He throws a great football, blah, blah, blah. But it looks like he might not be in the best shape. So what did you heavies say yesterday about him?
There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. You got Ben Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, he's not the most tone-cut guy.
Right.
He's got Brady had some fat years. He won a couple of Super Bowls.
Yesterday was the 25-year anniversary of Brady being picked, by the way.
Listen, this is what I would say about this. First of all, there's a lot of time before the season starts. So when the season starts, he'll be slim, he'll be trim, and we'll see what it is. But I will say this. That's fat for an 18, 19-year-old that just finished a high school season about 5-6 months ago. So, come on, Bryce, man, what you doing? Zingerman's is good. The fried chicken, the hot sauce that they make, I know is good, but come on now.
And I know you guys have Anson on the show every now and then. He's a Spartan. He's a certain
He's
type
a
of
rogue
Spartan.
Spartan.
He's crazy. I'll tell it how it is. I'm scared of Bryce Underwood. I don't want Bryce Underwood to be good. I hope he sucks. Nice kid. Hope he's great. But He scares me. This is a legitimate number 1 prospect in the country. Like,
So, have you seen these videos that M Go Blue has been putting out, just of spring ball?
Games
Look,
2 days.
I'm not getting all crazy here and saying that
He's the next JJ.
This guy,
He's gonna be better than
you
JJ.
could tell, is special. I mean, you might get 2 natties out of him. I believe this guy is that special. It is effortless. Not only how he steps back in the pocket, but how he just flings the ball. You want to talk about accuracy. This guy is as accurate as you could possibly get as an 18-year-old kid coming into college. I'm not sure I've seen a player as good as him at this point in his high school / college career. Remind you, he should be
A sophomore.
A sophomore.
Yeah, he reclassified.
Yes.
One of the biggest things.
He's so good. And I'm just telling you, I've got like a little bit of a weak spot for college football as a whole right now. But because this guy is on my team, I cannot wait for Michigan football. I just can't wait.
I love that Maz calls you out every time.
And I should.
I love that Maz calls you out every time.
Fine, I call myself out.
There are a couple things with Bryce that you just can't ignore, okay? One, Michigan is cheap. I love my institution. They used to be cheap. They were very cheap. It is what it is. They paid him $13 million.
They're not cheap anymore.
This is Michigan. Like, this isn't Ohio State. Ohio State will give a bum like $13 million. This Michigan paid him $13 million. I had to pay attention to that. Second thing, he's ESPN #1. He's not a 5-star. See, there's a difference between being a 5-star quarterback and the #1 player on. He's not even just the #1 quarterback. He's the #1 player on the ESPN board. Now, ESPN gets a ton of things wrong every day. They don't typically get the #1 player wrong too often. So the fact that you got Michigan spending money, you got ESPN #1, it's telling me that this thing should, in fact, work.
Does he have anything to work with? Because I've heard nothing about the wide receivers or running backs. You lost Colston Loveland. The offensive line was great 2 years ago. Last year, not so great. Do they have the rest? Did they spend enough money on the rest of the team? Because he can't do it by himself.
And that's what the spring game is for.
That is what the spring game is for. And look, when you have a guy like Bryce Underwood, you expect him. One of the things about a player like that is you expect him to make everybody else better. If you are a player for the Michigan Wolverines, let's say you're a first-string player for the Michigan Wolverines, you're not some dud, okay? You have talent. And then you bring in a guy at the quarterback position that can raise that level of talent and bring that talent out of you the best you could possibly be. And you have a coaching staff, by the way, now that I think can develop that talent. Braylon, I think that is a formula for a national championship contender.
I appreciate you. Because you let me say it. Maz, you familiar with these names? Dave Terrell, Marquise Walker,
I heard of him.
Braylon Edwards,
Yeah.
Marquise Knight, Monty Toomer, Mercury Hayes,
Avant.
Jason Avant, Steve Breston, Mario Manningham, Super Bowl winner, arguably the best catch I've ever seen in the
Nasty
Super Bowl
catch.
because he went and caught that and it
Toe
was a hell of a
tap.
throw.
Toe tap
That
on the
throw
sideline.
alone will get Eli in the Hall of Fame.
That's facts.
In that game. They were all coached by Eric Soup Campbell. Guess who Ron Bellamy brought back home this year?
Yep.
Eric Soup Campbell, my former coach. There is no coach better. I've never, in the NFL, high school, college, I never played with a better coach.
Wow.
He understands the position of wide receiver. He knows how to coach it. He's old school, but he's younger. He'll know how to
Why was he
adapt.
ever let go?
That's for off air.
Politics.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. Politics, Rich Rod. We'll leave it there. But now you have him. You got a quarterback that's that dynamic and a coach that knows how to coach that position. They'll be much improved. Like what they have there now and the couple people they brought in, they'll be much improved and surprise you. Eric Campbell will be the difference. And that's no slight to Ron Bellamy. Ron was coming from being a great high school coach to coming into the NFL and figuring out how to coach wide receivers. Soup's been coaching wide receivers for the last 35 years.
Hey, Ryan, before we go back to the Lions, a note from the quarterback from Tennessee, Nico Iamaleava, or Iamaleava. How do you want to pronounce it? Iamaleava, because he's leaving. Supposedly he's going to sign with UCLA. And guess what? His mother and father said, we're leaving Tennessee because we didn't like their offense. It had nothing to do with the money. Supposedly this kid wanted to go from $2.5 million to over $4 million. They tried a power play in the playoff last year. It didn't work. And now they tried it before the spring game. And the coach, Josh Heupel, said, the hell with this. I'm done with you. Supposedly he didn't sign with UCLA, and he ain't going to get $4 million.
Well, anybody that says it's not about the money, it's always about the money.
Right.
I just don't understand, like, what offense do you want to go to? Josh Heupel's offense is proven success. Joe Milton got a shot in the NFL because of Josh Heupel. Hendon Hooker got drafted 3rd round with an ACL tear, and he would have been a 1st-round quarterback because of Josh Heupel. So I'm not buying that we went somewhere for better offense. Really?
Now here's the other part of this.
I just want to read Burn $5 before I pass it up. Burn $5. Bryce is bulking. He's getting some size to get college ready, as Rich Piana once said. You got to eat big to get big. Bro.
Rest in peace to Rich Piana.
So I wanted to get that in there.
So this kid, this quarterback from Tennessee, was going to UCLA.
Rich Piana.
UCLA hesitantly is taking him. You know why? Because this kid's brother spurned UCLA on National Signing Day to sign with Arkansas. So this kid, Iamaleava, whatever you pronounce his name, his brother left UCLA in the lurch to go to Arkansas. And now his big brother or young brother is now going to UCLA. It's a complete mess. They messed this kid up something fierce. And I'm going to say they, because I don't believe it's the kid.
It's the father for sure. Yeah. It's the father for sure. Father's supposed, but it goes back to the conversation that we were having. Like, at the end of the day, father's looking at the situation. If my son's not going to the league and he's not going to be this cup of tea, I'm going to keep trying to get as much money as I can. And it sucks that he's putting the kid in a situation, but that's what it is.
And also, okay, so just
make that bag.
I hate college football because of this. College football, to me, was always number one. NFL was number two. It's just how I was over the last 5 years or so, outside of, the Michigan stuff. NFL won, college football too. I'm not talking about Michigan. I'm just talking about college football as a whole. I hate college football because of this. I hate what it's done to the game. And I understand this young man has every right to make the most money that he could possibly make. I understand that right. I also have the right to hate it.
Yeah.
And I have the right to not like it. And that's just kind of where I am. Mark Cuban made a saying many years ago, and it was in reference to the NFL, but I'll say it in terms of college. Pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. And I almost believe I heard a conversation on ESPN. It was Ryan Clark and Paul Feinbaum going back and forth. And Feinbaum was like, older fans hate this stuff. And they do, and I don't think of myself as an older fan, but maybe I am an older fan.
You are.
I hate this stuff. And Ryan Clark said, "Who cares about the fans?" And I'm like, okay, fine, don't care about me. I don't have to watch. You know what I mean? And I will watch, but when you see players leave like this, nobody's saying they don't have a right to do it. It's just terrible because there's a lot of, and I hate this term as well, misinformation out there. You see these contracts, this money. Oh, Carson Beck got $4 million from Miami. Does anybody really, truly know if Carson Beck got $4 million from Miami? Nobody really knows that, by the way. Nobody knows that. So he might not get $4 million from Miami. Does anybody think did Bryce Underwood get $13 million from Michigan?
Like that kid from UNLV, he didn't get his money.
Right. I mean, so all of these price tags are getting thrown around, but there's really no way to verify any of this stuff. So you hear Carson Beck, $4 million at Miami. I took you to the playoffs. You give me $4 million now at Tennessee, and there didn't seem to be much of a market. UCLA's got an open spot. because that spot was supposed to be Dante Moore's, the king quarterback, who bolted UCLA,
Went back to Oregon.
for Oregon. So I don't know,
But-
I just hate what it's become.
I hate what it's become too. We had this conversation on Tuesday, Ryan, and yes, I understand about Imam and his father, and it's moral, whatever you want to call it. I don't agree. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have him at my university. But with that being said, the bigger issue is it's not about him. It's not about his father. It's about the fact that the NCAA, and we said this on Tuesday, they allowed it to get here. NCAA knew from the Ed O'Bannon case that athletes about to get paid within 10 years.
Right.
They had no plan in place. There's no collective. You got the SEC doing what they want to do. The Big Ten can do what they want to do. They're police. So there's no rules and regulations. So who to say, you know what, I don't feel like playing in this spring game.
Right.
Give me $2 million. You know what, we're 3-0, UNLV. You didn't pay up, I'm sitting out. Because there is no collective. Because there is no rules. So until the NCAA and get together with the conferences, it's going to be like this, and it's not the players, it's not his father, which I don't agree with what he's doing, but it's not his fault, it's the NCAA's fault. And people need to consistently hear that.
The pendulum always has to swing so far. No matter what topic you're talking about. If it's politics, if it's sports. Okay, so the NCAA didn't pay college athletes. They created this problem. Of course they did. But now we're going to swing so far the other way that we're going to drive an entire generation of fans away from the game. It can't just – you can't ever just find a little bit of reason and let that pendulum kind of fall in the middle. And I think the game suffers for it. And this kid will suffer for it. This kid will make his money. I'm not sure this kid is going to be a pro player.
Is the NFL a better product than it was 40 years ago?
No, I don't think it is. I think
Does it make more money?
Oh, sure.
That's all that really matters at the end of the day.
But
you still love the NFL.
Yeah.
You're still
But
down in
not
it.
as much.
That's BS because you guys have been raving about the Lions last 4 years.
But we talked about the Lions, but we talked about what a crappy year it was. We were consistent about what a crappy year it was. And not only that, the NBA has made more money than ever. There's guys making $75 million a year, and I think that's a much worse product. So both things can be true.
True. Yeah.
How about Lee Corso?
Yeah.
Finally.
It's about time.
Tom Izzo, I forgot I was doing a lot, meeting people trying to get some money around here. Tom Izzo, his quote was, people need to stop with the NIL and transfer portal. He said people commenting the fan makes it worse. I got to get the full conversation. But he was telling like the families, the fans, the parents, like, shut up. Just stay out of it. He said you're making it worse. Let me get the quote for you so I know what
Lee
it is.
Corso hanging it up, guys, after 4 decades
Thank
on
God.
College Game Day. It was time. It was time like 2 years ago, but they kept him on, and he's basically like a mascot on the team. Kirk Herbstreit loves him like a son. Like he's like a father to all these guys. They all speak highly of him. He was fun. It was time for him to step down. So he'll do the first game of the year, and then he's saying goodbye. So we'll see what the first game of the year is. Maybe it's a Michigan game or so, and he'll put the Wolverine.
It's not going to be Michigan Fresno State probably. Or
probably
who are they playing?
I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. We'll see what logo, what mascot head he puts on for the last time.
Probably a Buckeye game or something
Maybe.
like that.
Might be,
just because. But, Lee Corso, what made Lee Corso great? Lee Corso turned himself into a character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was in the entertainment business.
Yep.
Yes, he was a former coach, and he could probably X's and O's you to death, and he could talk about all the ins and outs of this, that, and the other thing. But what made Lee Corso great, what made College Game Day great, was that he entertained you.
Yep.
And he entertained you more than any of them. Whether it was the headgear or the pencil or the sayings.
Yeah.
He entertained you.
He was the uncle, the grandfather.
It's a pretty simple business if you can get out of your own way and not take yourself too seriously. It's like the Malik Willis stuff. People come back to, well, you said Malik Willis at number 2. Yeah, I did, and you remember that.
Yeah.
And you might think it's the worst pick in the world, but you don't remember when I said that Aiden Hutchinson was going to be in the Heisman Trophy either.
Oh, they ignored that. They
It's the
ignored
Howard
that.
Stern thing. Like,
Yeah.
people who like me listen for an hour, people who hate me listen for 2 hours.
Right, but again, if you understand the game, too, and understand that I'm sitting here trying to entertain you as well, I'm not trying to be right on everything I say, that goes a long way as well.
Skydog is ripping me up and down because he doesn't think I know anything about Michigan football. Okay. I'll tell you this, man. No, I don't know the transfer portal that they brought over. I don't.
Who does?
I know they got Bryce Underwood. He's the #1 quarterback. Other than that, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I can tell you the history of Michigan football, but no, you're right. I don't know player 1 through player 100. I don't. And that's okay. I will when it's time. But for now, congrats. You got your name read. And, take a chill pill. Man.
Oh, good job. Bray, what were you going to say?
The Hall of Fame coach delivered a pointed critique of the transfer portal and the NIL landscape, warning that the system is failing the very players it was designed to help. We created a bad system, Izzo said. The guys have had people in their ear all year long. While Izzo wasn't speaking specifically about Michigan State, his message carried abroad. He emphasized that the players are being forced to make high-stakes decisions with little structure or trustworthy guidance and are often influenced by outside voices more interested in leverage than long-term development. They're being forced to navigate that with most of the public attention focused on them. Most of the public attention focused on the negative things is what he said.
And they also have like unsanctioned agents who are getting up close to 20% of these guys are making a killing off these kids'
He
bags.
said the system was set up without proper guidelines.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was saying.
Pandora doesn't go back in the box; it just comes out.
Syracuse, did you see the Syracuse player? Syracuse head coach Fran Brown talked about his wide receiver Trebor Pena and the fact that he transferred. Kid wanted $2 million. And
Crazy.
Coach Fran Brown said, I'm not paying no wide receiver $2 million. But it's just, again, just the fact that the player and the player's parents or guardians or whoever is in charge of his future is in his ear saying, you're a $2 million player. And if they don't give you $2 million, you go somewhere that does. You start bouncing around and you have no future.
When you get a job, you can negotiate. Like,
Become good.
You can negotiate when you get a job. It's all right, cool. Now you got the job. All right, the job. I want 150. Well, we're thinking you can haggle. You can negotiate. That's what they're now doing.
Here's the full quote, by the way. You going to make $2 million a wide receiver? That's the homie at Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith. Ain't nobody else making that money. I'm not giving no wide receiver $2 million in college. That ain't me.
Yeah. It's only $2 million. It's only $2 million wide receivers.
Yeah.
One goes to Alabama. One goes to Ohio State.
Absolutely.
Guys, we're going to go back to Brad Holmes in a minute. Also, Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Oh, man.
Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show today talked about his first interaction with Aaron Glenn. He is not a fan of Aaron Glenn. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of siding with Rodgers on this one. We'll get to that coming up next.
Aaron,
but first, a message from us here at WSN.
Well, let me tell you about the socials. You can find us on all social media platforms, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, wherever there is a social media platform. You know Woodward has a big presence, so make sure you follow us at Woodward Sports on all your favorite social media platforms.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Big Injuries? Big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
You know what time it is. Now, I told you, your fitness is essential. And I've been going all around, this area, if you will, trying all the Planet Fitness gyms, because I want to make sure that they're telling you the truth. I want to make sure that the gyms are clean. Check. I want to make sure that the service is clean. Check. I want to make sure that the judgment is none, and there is no judgment at Planet Fitness. So you got to come on in, because your fitness is essential. The price point is right, and there's gyms everywhere. I went to the Pontiac gym right here on Square Lake Road today. I'm going to the one in Farmington Hills. I'm going to the one in West Bloomfield. I'm going to all the gyms to make sure you're getting the service that you need. Remember, your fitness is essential.
Hey, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the program. I'm going to get to the Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Glenn situation momentarily. I do, in the interest of our viewers, I want to play this exchange for you. This is about 2 minutes and 50 seconds long. This is Brad Holmes. We are your one-stop shop for your Lions news, okay?
100%.
That's why we do this stuff. This is Brad Holmes talking to the media this morning, about when making a decision, is it best player available or is it drafting for need? Those are two very different questions. And Brad Holmes, to his credit, really explained it, I think, as best as you could possibly explain it from a current NFL GM to his fans through the media. I want to play this for you now. This is Brad Holmes earlier today.
First 15 seconds is a question.
I'm just curious about the BPA versus need conversation when maybe a guy is.
I love need.
Let's say
You guys
a guy
know me.
Is clearly a guy you evaluated very, very highly, but there's an overlap with a guy in your roster where it's tough to see how you get both of them on the field. Like, how do you handle that as an evaluator when that guy's the best player, but maybe can't help you in a meaningful way?
Yeah, and we've had those discussions. I think the interesting thing, Justin, is that, and this is where I not get annoyed, but this is why I sometimes don't understand the whole need thing, because when each season ends, it's going to be something else. Like, another player's contract's going to end. Another player, unfortunately, might be coming off an injury. And, it's going to be something different every single offseason. So if you're trying to chase what happened last season of, oh, man, this guy's contract's in, if you're trying to chase, this guy got an injury, you're just kind of getting into a cycle that I think is a little bit dangerous to get into. So that's why I've been more of a, just get the best player, because even, look, we loved we loved Rakestraw, and unfortunately he just wasn't as healthy, so he wasn't able to help as much last year. But we're real excited and looking forward to what he's going to be able to bring this year. So there is just, and I said before, there's just a level of patience that you just have to play. But when you start chasing need, it's that need might make sense for right now at this time, but what we make these picks for future investments. And I know we live in a society that everything is right now, boom, right now. And I understand it too, just from, when a player gets drafted and so much, fascination is made about the draft, and, people are excited about it. People want to see it right now. And, they don't want to wait and be patient, but there's just patience. I mean, it's no different than when we made that massive jump to get Jameson Williams. He was coming off his injury. We knew maybe he could play a little bit late in the season, but weren't planning on it, So yeah, I just got to play the patient. But I'm just, I think you can get trouble chasing needs sometimes, and then you're dependent on a rookie that you know, you do the best you can, but nobody has a crystal ball, you know, so it could be a tough world to live in.
I have no idea what he's going to do.
Well, Maz asked a question during this soundbite. Maz asked us, ask it again. What do you think?
What is he going to do? I can't get a read on what he's going to do. I know he says best player available. So if it's a cornerback, you're taking a corner. If it's a safety, you're going to take a safety, just because he's better than the defensive lineman that you need desperately, or the offensive lineman you might need in a couple of years. I have no idea.
You brought something up that intrigues me a little bit. Here's what I think Brad Holmes is going to do, and why he made the analogy earlier about look at it like a movie. Okay, just sit back and watch the movie and see what happens. Let's just say, for instance, this is what I think. Brad Holmes is extremely flexible. I don't think he's going in with any preconceived notions of how that board is going to fall. Yes, you have an idea, sure. But I think he is prepared for any situation. And this is what I mean by that. If the top safety in the draft fell, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I could see Brad Holmes being the type of flexible general manager where he can look at this plan, take the safety, pay Kirby, we'll move on from Branch.
Oh, my God.
And I'm not saying that's going to happen.
They're looking at one, a guy that runs a sub 4.2 40.
But understand.
Sub 4.2.
Or a 4.25, I read.
Oh, okay. I like
4.25. 4.2.
But just understand what I'm getting at here. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think that's the type of general manager Brad Holmes is. If there's that 4.2 wide receiver that's falling, I could see Brad Holmes go, shame-o, trade. You know, if there is that guy there, I think he is willing, whoever that guy is, insert your favorite that guy. I think Brad Holmes is as flexible a general manager that he would pivot on any future plan he would have on a player. That's what I'm saying. I'll give you another one. If, and this is never going to happen in a million years, but just for the argument's sake, if Ashton Genty falls to 25, let's say, well, maybe he'll be like, damn, let's move up and get Gente, and then you don't have to pay Gibbs.
Oh.
I'm just, again.
I know, don't say Gibbs to me.
I'm just mentioning that is a hypothetical, something that wouldn't happen, but just an analysis of the type of general manager he is. He's going to let this thing come. And based on which players he has graded highest, which players he think will be terrific Detroit Lions football players, he is going to take that player and then maybe pivot on the long-term plans of somebody else on the roster. That's all I'm saying. If Colston Loveland falls.
We all know you want him.
If Colston Loveland falls to 28, does that not make Sam Laporta expendable? Again, I'm just giving an analogy. I'm not saying that any of these things are going to happen.
Yeah, well, look, Brad Holmes gets mad when anybody gives a suggestion, and so do the fans out there. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say whatever you do, don't be wrong. Whatever you do, don't be wrong. I'm fine. You're fine. I'm fine. We'll figure it out. Brad's always right. Brad always gets it right. So, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Hey, look, there's a part of me still that believes what Pete said earlier in the week.
Man,
I'd still take Trey Hendrickson. Yeah, I'd pay him too. How old is Trey Hendrickson? 30?
No. He's younger than that. 27, 28.
No, Trey Hendrickson.
I heard you. I'm not deaf. 28.
He's 30.
Oh, I was off by 2. You're right.
And how old's Hutchinson?
24, something like that.
Okay, so there's a big gap there.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say,
24.
If you have the sure bet in Hendrickson.
Hendrickson is 30.
Yeah, he's a sure bet. I'd pay him the $30 million that he wants, or whatever the hell he wants.
Probably 45.
Yeah, because I still believe. I do. I still believe we're that player away. I do.
What I think is going to happen, and again, Brad Holmes can do whatever he wants. He's going to do whatever he wants. I think if it's not one of 3 guys that falls to him at 28, whether it be Shamar Stewart, Mikal Williams, or Gray Zabel, I think he's going to trade back out of the first round, get an extra second rounder. You see a guy like Kenneth Grant falling out of these mock drafts. You look at the Lions defense, that nose tackle spot opposite of the 3-tech defensive tackle. You've got DJ Reader on the last year of his deal. Roy Lopez, you signed to a 1-year contract.
Oh, Roy.
And then Broderick Martin, who is a nothing burger. You don't have a guy there after next year. The opposite end of Hutch, you have Josh Pascal on the last year of his contract. Al-Quadin Muhammad signed to a 1-year deal. And Marcus Davenport signed to a 1-year deal. You don't have a guy there after next year. If you could get Kenneth Grant in the second round and a Nick Scorton in the second round, it's 2 guys that I think are going to be very productive in the league on 4-year rookie contracts. Your defensive line's set for the next 4 years.
There's no doubt
I like
about
it, Spenny.
that. I absolutely love that, Spenny. I think you raise a couple of great points. I don't think Brad Holmes, and we haven't. Well, I guess he did trade back to get Gibbs. Essentially, I think if they identify that player at the end of the first round, that they believe they can get it in the second round, because a lot of this is financial, right? A lot of this is about the finances of it. If you don't have to pay a first rounder, you can get that player in the second round.
Absolutely.
That would be tremendous.
They met with your guys' boy. They met with Josiah Stewart like 10 times.
Yeah.
He's not going to be there at 60, and he's not a first-round pick. So you're going to have to either move up in the second round or move back out of the first round if you want to get him.
Don't forget, you got 2 guys that aren't on the Lions anymore that are directing teams.
Yeah.
One of them is Ben Johnson. He knows how the Lions think. The other is Aaron Glenn. He knows how Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes thinks. Those are 2 things going against us as well. I want people to remember that.
Well, speaking about Aaron Glenn, okay, this was earlier today. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers made an appearance on the Pat McAfee show today.
He looked good, by the way.
He did. We cannot play the video for you because of the restrictions with McAfee. So I'm just going to read you the quotes from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers flies to New York to meet with the Jets. Quote, I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. Then he comes back with the GM. And I'm like, all right. So we sit down, and I think we're going to have this long conversation. And 20 seconds in, he and Glenn says, you sure you want to play football? Rodgers said, yes. Immediately after that, Glenn said, we're going in another direction, and walked out of the room.
I respect it.
I don't. I don't.
Wow.
I think that is, and I love Aaron Glenn. I think that is not a great spot. You could have called him on the phone and said, look, we're going in another direction. You don't have to make this trip. But to fly cross country and not pay him the respect of a conversation, I don't like that. Now, I love Aaron Glenn, but I think he handled that situation
When
wrong,
Aaron Glenn say that's true.
I don't know.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, if you want to make the conversation about that without the information, then yes.
Well, that's based on the information. How about this? Based on this information, I don't like that.
Stories have 3 sides. There's your side, my side, and there's the truth. I want to get Aaron Glenn's side because I know that the Aaron Glenn that I know, this doesn't sound like something he would do. It doesn't sound like he would waste Aaron Rodgers' time with a 20-second conversation. Side note, we also know Aaron Rodgers to have lied in the past. We know Aaron Rodgers says things to make himself look good, make the story look better, and blah, blah, sway things to what he wants it. If this wasn't Aaron Rodgers, I would believe it a little bit faster. This being Aaron Rodgers, I would just like to see what Aaron Glenn has to say. Then I can make my decisions. Because it didn't go down like that. Why ask and then say, well, we're going another direction? You don't need to ask that question. This is Aaron Rodgers looking for some sympathy, trying to spin a narrative. I cannot wait to see what Aaron Glenn has to say.
I need to see that.
Yeah.
And he has to say something. Am I wrong here?
He does.
Well, yeah, but when's he going to say? What are you going to know about
must
it?
respond.
When-
He must respond.
When?
Today.
Yeah, it's gonna be soon, especially if he went on McAfee.
I bet
Well,
McAfee's
I mean-
calling Aaron Glenn right now.
Yeah.
You said what?
I bet McAfee's on the phone with Aaron Glenn right now saying, come on the show tomorrow.
And that's the power of the McAfee show. Mm-hmm. He has that access. He has that reach.
The Jets did, and now, I mean, I'm just going, this was not at all what I expected you guys to say. Like,
really,
Aaron Rodgers is lying.
But I can't make
But we do it all the time.
But not with a liar though.
Well, what did he lie about?
It's neither here nor there. Because if
you're going to call somebody a liar, you just got to know what he lied about first.
No, because then you're going to be like, oh, well, he didn't technically say this.
Well, again, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers guy. I'm taking an isolated situation that is out there in the grand scope right now. I'm not in any of these rooms.
Yeah.
So all of it can be bullshit. You know what I mean? Our entire show could all be a fugazi.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about anything if we really want to say that. But, I mean, I guess, well,
I feel like
there's
you got
nowhere
the
else.
best
Well, the thing I'm saying is, like, we weren't there. So based on this information, what do you think about it? That's the topic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't believe it.
That's okay. If you don't believe it, you don't believe it. We'll move on to a different topic. Give me a
No,
topic.
But I get what you're saying.
Ryan,
I'm saying I don't believe Aaron Rodgers.
I think you're getting offended. The topic is fine.
Well,
yeah, we're good.
I think you want us to just go with the scenario that you put in front of us.
No, I'm just saying, like, every single topic we talk about, we weren't in the room.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't verify. We haven't verified anything.
But when you're talking about an individual, Aaron Rodgers, who we know is self-centered, let's
Right.
not call him a liar. Let's call him
Well,
self-centered.
I mean, okay.
Can I finish?
Yes.
When you know it's an individual that's self-centered, that we know it makes it all about him, that drags things out, et cetera, and now he's saying this around draft time, et cetera. It just is one of those things where I'm like, it's Aaron. It has an element to where I'm like, I need to see. And it's to your
That's a
point.
nothing burger then.
It's not nothing burger because it's fun. Because why would he say it?
Yeah.
He also said
it maybe could be
Right.
true.
He also said, and this wasn't today, but he said it earlier in the week, that I'd rather retire than play for a non-playoff team. And as we know, the weight on the Pittsburgh Steelers is still running. That taxi clock is still going. That meter is still running. And we haven't heard a word about what the Steelers and him are doing. And now here's the draft a week away from tonight. And we said, once that draft is over, we kind of said, you'll hear from Aaron Rodgers then. But he comes out today and basically blasts the Jets.
And Ryan, for the sake of conversation, with that being the information, I think what if Aaron Glenn, he didn't know, and in that moment, by his answer, he was like, you know what, I don't like the answer, and he went with it. I see there's nothing wrong with that.
I say that for me again.
So what if with Aaron Rodgers' answer he didn't like in that moment, and then he made the decision in that moment? That's what I think. When I heard that, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, yeah, maybe, yeah. I guess I can't get in Aaron Glenn's head.
Right.
Yeah. I'm saying for the sake of your,
But
for your side,
for the sake of the argument, I watched Aaron Glenn's press conference when he was introduced as head coach of the Jets. Mm-hmm. I think anybody that watched that press conference could reasonably deduce
That's fair.
that they were going to move on from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it sounds like that decision was made.
Yeah.
Now, as far as this goes, maybe it's not. But then if Aaron Glenn responds to it, then we got another topic 2 days from now.
Yeah.
I think he will.
Then you bring it back.
I think he will.
Yeah. Either way,
I hope so.
It's fine. I was actually just full disclosure, completely unprepared for that
Response.
Yeah. Completely because it didn't even register to me that
that Glenn can do that.
Well, no, not that Glenn could do, is
that we would say
that Aaron Rodgers is lying about it.
Oh.
Because anybody could be lying.
You were just trying to have a conversation.
Anybody can't lie about anything.
Right.
You're absolutely correct. I just think for us, maybe this is just me speaking for myself. For the last 3-4 years, like you made me fall in love with Aaron Glenn, and he's a former Jet, and I saw how he coached, and I was excited for him, and I wanted him to get the job. So maybe when you said that, I immediately put the two together and was like, who do I like and who don't I like, or who do I like and who do I think will say it and who won't? So maybe that's what I fell into.
So here's a good tweet, and I'll give Anthony Blevin a good tweet, a good chat. What do you call this? A chat?
Yeah, message.
The chat. Comment.
Yeah,
Comment.
there you go.
Here's a good comment from Anthony Blevins. Now, this is something I didn't consider, but this is okay.
I know
now
Terrence
you're talking.
Blevins, by the way.
Now you're talking to me, though. I respect a man who says it to my face. Maybe Glenn wanted to say it to his face.
Yeah,
now that could be, but I still think you have a conversation. But that's just me.
Do you think he did it?
Do
Do you think Aaron Glenn did this to put his stamp on the Jets to Woody Johnson, to protect, to show Woody Johnson, hey, I back you. You gave this guy the keys to the kingdom, and he screwed you. So I'm going to tell him basically to go take a walk right here in front of everybody. That's why he brought the GM in. That's why he wanted to have everybody in that room, because he wanted to put his stamp on it and say, go to hell. We're moving on without you. That I could maybe believe.
Making a statement?
Yes. He made a statement.
I could buy that, but then my 100%. My question is, how long? What was the full dialogue? Because then that becomes the conversation.
That was the full dialogue, according to Aaron Rodgers.
Once again, according.
So again, and Just a Fan says, and here's my issue with this whole scenario.
Yeah.
Not issue. Here's my taken abackness by this whole scenario with the chat too, because the chat hates Aaron Rodgers. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I'm taking the situation as a one-off. Ryan, you are Ryan. So you are going to take Aaron Rodgers at face value without any input from Glenn. There are always two sides to every story. Let me just tell you the position that I come from. I take everybody at their word until you tell me or show me that you're lying or you fabricated this information. So, for instance, I am not in any room with. Do not have any privileged information with probably any topic we talk about. I am going to go with the information based on that time.
You knew Bryce Underwood was coming.
I did know that.
Don't sell yourself short.
I did know that.
I have no insight.
Right.
Except
Well,
for that.
but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm taking this situation at face value.
You knew JJ was leaving.
I knew that. But if Glenn comes back and then responds to it, then we'll do a topic and say, well, Aaron Rodgers is full of BS. Who do you believe now? Well, then obviously we're all going to believe Aaron Glenn.
True.
I guess that's where I was.
Yeah,
I think it's a fun. I think it's a fun conversation because I think it's talking about Aaron Rodgers and what we've seen from him in the future, and can you even trust the comment? Like, I thought it was a great conversation, and waiting to see what Aaron Glenn says. I mean, the vaccination situation, you can say however you want to about what he said. Oh, he didn't lie. He manipulated the truth, which is a version of lying.
Well, so did Fauci.
Okay, but Fauci don't play for the NFL. Fauci doesn't play in the NFL. He's okay, but he lied. He manipulated the truth. Like, is it me or did Aaron come in and say, I'm gonna be at the Jets camp. I'm gonna be there. I can't wait. I'm getting out of Green Bay. This is fresh. Meanwhile, I thought he was in Europe last year before the season started. Is that not a manipulation of the truth? So this is the type of individual that he is, and also how he handled the situation in Green Bay for those last 3 years that got Devontae Adams into the Raiders. All of that, when you say he said it about Aaron Glenn, I'm like, I'm just waiting for the rest of the concept. If this was Jared Goff, I'd have believed it off top.
Right.
If this was name a bunch of quarterbacks in the NFL, I would, because it's Aaron. There's just like Aaron.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Did he say anything in that? Did you hear the whole conversation?
I'm just reading it.
Okay,
reading
so
the quotes.
he didn't mention to Aaron, hey, are you going to the Steelers or not? I mean, I didn't. I can't wait. I'm going to go back and listen.
So he said it's not about the money. He'll play for $10 million. He wants to play for a winner.
He said it's not about only $10 million.
I heard he wanted $30 million.
Well, he said, I mean, he probably does, but.
Well, now he's got to say all the right things because there ain't too many jobs.
I mean, the Jets are still paying him, for crying out loud.
Who is?
The Jets.
Yeah. Oh, God,
They're still paying him.
Either way. It's all good. Hey, we're going to go around the NFL. We got Pistons. We got Dr. Pierce. We got Tigers.
Ooh.
Maybe Riley. What's going on with Riley Green? We got a lot going on here.
Did you bench him yet, Mass?
No, not yet. I'm riding him again tonight.
Just bench
2
him.
more strikeouts yesterday.
That's
Leads the
great.
league.
You gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to fold them.
But first, the message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. At Lady Jane's, we take the chore out of getting a haircut. Our talented stylist will deliver an industry-leading haircut, relaxing scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. Open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in the clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone. The boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports.
Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports. Make sure you scan that QR code above my head and use promo code Woodward1000 to get your first bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it doesn't hit. Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports.
Hey, welcome back, Woodward Sports Network. Dr. Pierce coming up in just a little bit, but in the meantime, we'll turn to Tom Mazawey. Go around the NFL.
Yes, sir. Around the NFL. Here we go, fellas.
Oh, you got to tell them about it.
I will.
I saw you look for
Spenny, we got an opening for this, but we'll do it next time.
We'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it next time.
We'll do it tomorrow. Here's Inside the NFL with the Woodward crew here, guys. Caleb Williams. You know, I love to put his name out there. A lot of people like him. Most people do not like him. Well, Caleb said he does not want to be friendly with opposing players. And he doesn't want the jersey, all that kind of stuff. And let me say something. I've said this before. I really don't like it when I see players right away. And listen, this is probably for Braylon. It's probably not. It's none of my business what they do. I just, to me, never thought I'd be friendly with the opposing team. Sure, you can shake their hands when the game's over and all. Look at the hockey players at the end of a long series in the Stanley Cup playoffs, how they have to line up and shake each other's hands. When you know damn well half those guys cheap shotted you, they called you every name in the book, they spit at you, and you still got to shake their hand. Remember Dino Ciccarelli when he shook Claude Lemieux's hand? At the end, he's in the locker room and he's like, I can't believe I shook that SOB's hand. I can't believe I did it. So Caleb Williams, I'm going to be with him on this one. I really don't want to be too friendly with the other guys. Bray, I'll leave it to you.
First of all, I can't trust nobody wearing that cute ass outfit. I just do not even trust him.
In the pose.
But with that being said, hold on, I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I agree with him 100%. Like, I agree with you, man. It's like, when I played the game, they called me fastest to the shower. Like, if I wasn't playing a team that had a former Michigan player that I played with, or that I knew, or somebody that I played against that I really respected, like Chris Gamble for the Panthers, give respect, Champ Bailey. Sometimes you got to say, hey, look, respect. Other than that, I'm to the locker room. I shower, and when Romeo or when Rex or when Pete Carroll or when insert coach that I play for is giving that speech, I already took my shower, got the towel on with the drawers on, and I'm ready, put my suit on, do my interview, and go home to the family. So I'm with it. Like, I hate that LeBron. Turn that, because LeBron did it in basketball, but it transcended to all sports. And you can give me Well, we played together, and I was on the same AAU team, and we were in the circuit, and we were traveling together, and we developed friendships. And then the Ronald McDonald, man, that's all for the birds. When you step on that court, it's kill or be killed. When you step on the field, when you step on the kit, wherever you step on, it's you versus the other team. It's you and your brother. So I love this energy. Like, bring this energy back. I don't even need to speak to teams after games. Like, we can speak after the season is over with. If I see you in the offseason, I love it.
I don't believe Caleb Williams.
Same.
I'm just saying. I don't believe him.
Hey, on the other side
Ben
of
Johnson
this,
told him to say this.
there's another tweet that says Caleb Williams cried after every loss this year. So that's a tweet I didn't give to Spenny.
I believe that.
But there you go. That's the other side of him. And I'll tell you this. I bowl every Thursday, as you guys know.
You get any turkeys tonight?
No, I'm not gonna get it.
You shaking anybody's hands after the game?
Listen, there's a few teams in this league that I don't like the guys.
Yeah, that happens.
So at the end, when the game's not even over almost, I'll get my equipment and I'll walk to the locker room.
What's wrong with these guys?
Put my stuff. There's a few guys I just don't like.
They cheat?
Yeah, they're dumpers. They dump their average.
What do you mean they dump?
They dump their average. They keep their average down. So you have to. It's a handicap league. So if you bowl at a team, I mean, there's guys with 240 averages. You know what?
And they say they're too.
Yeah, and they'll lower their average to like 220, 218.
Yeah, that
and
ain't
they get, you have to give those. Anyway, there's a bunch of guys. This is bowling, and it's just the way I am. And I'm 63 years old, so I understand I'm old school. I'm a boomer. I know I'm a boomer. Boomers don't like anyone, right? But if I don't like you, you know, I don't have to shake your hand.
Yeah, as long as
you shouldn't have
my
to.
opinion.
And you shouldn't have to. You can't force me to shake somebody's hand.
I want to know more about the bowling.
Yeah, right. I didn't know
the envelope.
Doesn't anybody care about the rules?
How's the envelope?
Envelope is gone. I had a horrible year this year.
Too bad.
Horrible. I'm taking the summer off. I'm going to regroup.
Your best player didn't play, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, best player.
Are you going to take a retreat, like a darkness retreat, man?
I might.
Look, if true, I like this about Caleb Williams.
Yes.
This is the one aspect about. See, I'm not an all or nothing guy.
Yeah.
If this is true, if he really doesn't want to be friends with the other team, this I like. This I could roll with. Because I hate it when the guys are friendly. I don't want to see them hugging. I don't. Personally.
I said it jokingly, but
I mean, they're taking their jerseys off the minute the game's over. Give me a break.
Now, I will say this: if there was I got some jerseys at home. I'll bring them in. Some game jerseys,
very cool jerseys,
like Marvin Harrison. I was like, let me get that. Andre Johnson, let me get
Hall of Famers.
Yes,
yeah,
100%.
I get it.
The only jersey I wish I would have gotten it. Now we're friends, so I can just get it easily. But I wish I would have got it on the field was Calvin's.
Yeah,
I'll get one now.
Sure,
but it's different to take the.
Yes, it's not the same.
So.
Especially, it would have been great if you got it from the game against the Bears when they made the Calvin Johnson rule up. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that day. I know it was a regular season game.
That was the opener.
That was the opener, and they all of a sudden became the Calvin Johnson rule, which I never heard of in my entire life. But that's still a catch to me. That's a catch. It'll always be a catch. Anyway, Jalen Ramsey's going to be looking for a new home. The Dolphins and Jalen Ramsey are parting company. This is after the Dolphins gave him a big contract last year. So that's a terrific all-pro. I know he's a little up there in the age, but that's good. He's going to help somebody.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey still is cold. He's still a good DB, but where's his head at? Where's his mindset at? Is he trying to come in and think he's a $25 million DB that can do? He's not. But if he comes in and say, look, I still got skills. There'll still be some games where I operate like a number one and these things, but let me play two. Let me work with whoever, get in the team, help them out because he is a Super Bowl winning player. Like he is a playoff experience.
He helped
player.
them win that Super Bowl.
He was DB1 for 4 solid years in the NFL, so he can help somebody out. But where's his mental at? Because that's one thing you've always asked about Jalen. Where's he at? So if he's good, he can make somebody a nice.
Joe Shad. Remember Joe Shad from ESPN?
Yeah.
He's now a beat writer for the Miami Dolphins, and I can't find it right now, of course.
The Dolphins got some issues.
But he tweeted out yesterday, he's like, if you don't want to play in the state of Florida with no income tax, live in one of the most beautiful cities in America, play for a player's coach, play for an awesome defensive coordinator, what will make you happy?
Nowhere did he mention if you want to play for a winner.
Well,
used to
I
be.
mean,
In the 70s.
That goes back to Tua, though, too. I mean, do you believe in the Dolphins with Tua? Because last year they did have high expectations. They just had no quarterback. Their quarterback didn't know where he was 90% of the time.
And Ramsey's already got a Super Bowl. You know, you always want more, but
Yeah.
it's not like he hasn't tasted it before. But
This is true. You won with the Rams. I just don't like something about the Dolphins. Is just what it's gonna be. Why did I say Dolphins like that? It's something about the Dolphins every year. You just know it's gonna come to a head, whether it's in the regular season or whether you got a backup third string starting your playoff run like they did 2 years ago playing in Buffalo. Something's just always going to Sky Moore. Something's always gonna go wrong for the Dolphins. It just is what it is. You talked about the Bucks. It might just run in Florida, man. It's Bucks and the Dolphins.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Dr. Jeff Pierce going to join us, Michigan Sports and Spine. We'll talk to him. But first, a message from us here at WSN.
Yeah, I know you're tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch, man. We got some good teams going. Pistons in the playoffs. Get your new merch. Shop.woodwardsports.com is where you need to go to get the merch. It's a new era in sports wearables. We got new designs. Shop.woodwardsports.com is where you need to go, man. Hoodies, tees, hats, all guaranteed to turn heads. Get your latest designs right now on the website. Shop.woodwardsports.com, and we'll be right back.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone. The boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports. WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball. Detroit has the best sports fans in the world. That's why they deserve the best sports coverage in the world. We are the Woodward Sports Network.
if you're looking to buy or sell your home, Mark White should be your first choice. You can save up to $5,000 in your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Just visit him at markwhitesells.com or give him a call at 248-290-8242. Mark White will get you into your dream home.
Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. It's that time of the week that we like to bring in our guy, WSN Injury Insider, the great Dr. Jeff Pierce, who has a very special guest with him today, Michael Blazek. Michael's going to be running the Boston Marathon
Monday.
Yes, sir.
Are you kidding me? Doc, you do have some interesting people that you know. Like, these aren't stories.
It's not
now.
just Braylon and Mac.
This is like real life interesting people.
Maz, we won't treat. We refuse to take him in the office right now. It's too hard. I just go on success rates. So Michael's been obviously Nicole, his sister, has been involved with Athletes.
Shout out Nicole, by the way.
And Michigan Sports and Spine and all that. And she told me about her brother likes running around trails and all that kind of stuff. So just this story and kind of what we did, and we kind of wanted to bring in, because it is that time of the year where people are starting to get outside and trying to put more miles on and stuff like that, kind of do a comparison of what he's doing to train for the Boston Marathon, which is huge, and we'll pull out the stats as we talk, but kind of more of a broader thing is what we need to do for the common person like you guys that want to get out and start exercising like I've been telling you to do.
Michael, in the meantime, what has the last couple of weeks and months been like as you prepare for this? And have you ever run the Boston Marathon?
No, so I haven't. This will be my first Boston Marathon, and that's why Monday's so exciting, right? ESPN2 at 10 o'clock in the morning. I think 9:30 is actually when coverage starts. But my training for the Boston Marathon has been the last 16 weeks, which usually you do a fall marathon. Everybody talks about Chicago in the fall. A spring marathon's quite different, right? Because you're running in January, February, those grueling months when it's so dark outside, and you know, here in Michigan, it's black ice all over the place. So you got to be careful, but it's been a grind. Yeah. So been training for the last 16 weeks, and now as we're a couple days out, really it's been just training the body, bringing down the mileage though this last week and a half, and as a taper, and yeah, getting ready for Monday. So. And
for you, Doc, you know, just some of these. You can't just go out there and start preparing for a marathon. There's a method to doing that, right?
I mean, you can see some of his stuff. I mean, there's a method of how you warm up, how you cool down, how you get through it, and how you recover. Recovery is huge for all these individuals. I mean, Michael, it's mileage. What kind of mileage? Like, my kind of questions is, when I get these patients, how many miles are you doing a week? How are you preparing? What are you doing for CrossFit? What are you doing for the other stuff? You're talking about Michael, who's at a whole different level, right? He's at either they call it elite, ultra, pro, all that. And actually in Michigan, we can bring up the stats. There's a lot of these guys running around. So my big joke is, you know, how many runners do we have from Michigan?
There's about 7 in the pro field on Monday. So
7 in the pro field out of 60?
About 60, 63 guys.
So Michigan's representing 1/8 of the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
And we're considered what number in the fattest states in the country?
Yes, 7 in Michigan, 63 men in the pro field.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exciting. A lot.
Shout out Nicole again.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, right? You don't think of Michigan almost as a long distance running empire, but it's really has a lot of respect across the United States.
Yeah, it does. What is it, Slow Stroll? I tried. There's a running group downtown. I can't think of what day it is, but I told him, I said, I'll go to Slow Stroll. I'll get on the bike. 2 questions. We talked a little bit about the marathon outside. I impressed you, I think, with my Greek mythology knowledge of how you get to 26.2 miles. But I always ask, like, what would make one run 26.2 miles and be excited to do it? It's a very serious question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the personal challenge, for real, right? You talk a lot about you go through, obviously, grade school, through college, through your professional life, your personal goals. There's always something greater outside of that, right? We all have our daily lives, but there's also a different passion and something about just testing yourself to the ultimate limit. And that's, you know, of course, we have bowling, right? We've got basketball, we've got football, all of those things. But in a lot of ways, that doesn't fit into your schedule into everyday life. So as an endurance athlete, you say, how can I test myself to my fullest athletic ability? A lot of that is endurance sports. So it's a lot of fulfillment and just challenging myself and trying to better myself, whatever that means, right? I'm 32 years old. I'm almost to my probably my prime in marathon running. But after that, I don't know. Who knows? But it's just that constant pursuit.
All right, here we go, Blazik. You mentioned it's about constant pursuit of being the best version of yourself that you can. Well, was it 2:16:43?
Yeah.
That's your fastest time?
Yeah.
What are you going to try to do this Monday?
Man, so Boston, I don't know if you know this, but Boston's a pretty hilly course. It's a very tricky course. The first about 10 miles or so are actually really downhill. You got to be careful. You can't be too eager because you're going to burn up your quads. The second half of the race is all uphill and a battle between rolling hills. So between mile 15 and 22, it's just about 3 or 4 pretty sizable hills that could burn you up. And if you went out too hot, and by the time you get to those hills, you got to be careful. So typically, Boston Marathon isn't a PR, your best kind of marathon course. It's more so survival of the fittest and kind of that, you know, being there all the way to the last 5 miles, because that's when it finally starts to even out, and you're like, man, I just bombed downhill. I'm fighting uphill. Now I got to see what's left in the tank.
Well, you're in the top 60, so I'm going 2:14. That's what I.
There you go. Okay, I'll take that all day.
Doc, last question for me is for you. The street. Now, I'm an individual. I do not run on the street because of my knees. I've had knee surgeries, and I know it's not good for me. I've been told that by doctors. What is it like running on the street for Michael? Like, is it bad for his knees? Is it bad for the body? Tell me about it, Doc.
I mean, running surfaces, like the way they train, they have to train on the similar surfaces. Like he's saying, the hills and things like that. And there's flatter courses. I think New York's a little flatter. Chicago's a little flatter.
Chicago's very
for
flat.
sure. Yeah. You know, that's where you're seeing better numbers. But you have the shoe wear has really taken a lot out of it. Like when you were told all that was a couple of years ago. The shoe wear has helped tremendously, but it's also you have to be proper what shoes you're wearing, right? So at his level, to last that long, 26 miles, 2 hours of running, all that friction forces, things like that, the shoe itself makes a big difference. Like a lot of people are like, I have foot issues, I have ankle issues. A lot of times it comes from that shoe wear. And the shoe wear can lead to issues with your knees and your hips. So it starts there, not that I'm broadcasting anything. I know I don't know if you're sponsored by your shoe, but I know you put it out there. But I mean, Brooks is a big deal around here. They're
is
big
it Nike?
Yeah, well,
I
Nike.
see a
Yeah.
Nike swoosh
one.
there.
I
That's
wear
why.
Saucony. I also wear Adidas.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
How often do you get a new pair of shoes?
Yeah, so I rotate them about every 400 miles, and that's crucial. So if you want to get into running,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, if you want to get into running, right? We live in concrete jungles a lot. It's hard to get on soft surfaces. Of course, there's parks nearby that you can go to. It's a lot, but if you're going out the door every day, it's so crucial to rotate your shoes out every 400 miles.
Actually, 400 is a lot.
Yeah.
So he's an efficient runner. I mean, we usually talk about 200 to 300 miles. So if he's more efficient, that means he's wearing better on his shoes. But a recreational runner, like he says, he rotates 2 shoes. We usually want to rotate 4 pairs of shoes if they're running every day. But the people that are doing, the 20 miles a week, they're okay with 2 pairs of shoes because they're not doing it.
Yep.
But shoe wear and that, healthy. If he gets a blister on one of his, on one part of his foot, he's out. That's just crazy. So it's crazy.
It's also about how much weight bearing and the foam in the shoe. So obviously, running shoes are pretty expensive nowadays, but they're made with high quality foam. If they sit on the shelf for too long, or if you're running for mile after mile, over time that foam sits there and it's supposed to rebound, right? But if you have it and you put in 400 miles, 500 miles, that foam isn't responding as much as it once was. Yeah. So that's why it's so crucial to rotate those out, because even the slightest thing, your ankle's rotating in just a little too much. You're doing a knee knock. It's such a trigger of other events that kind of is a domino that could cause, I've got that hip pain again, or man, I feel it in my lower back. That's why some of the equipment is pretty big.
So over the last couple of weeks, I started going for walks. I take the dog for a walk. It's about a 4-mile walk. And I feel like the way my quads feel, my knees, my legs, my back. Walk me through, if you could, what your body goes through.
We're trying to relate to the rest of the viewers right now.
Like, I'm trying to understand what your body as a marathon runner goes through early, middle of the race, end of the race. What are you feeling? What are your concerns during? Because the cardio aspect of it you have. Now, that would probably be one of the biggest aspects for a guy like me, the cardio of it. You probably have that cardio just with all your training, but what's the body going through?
So a lot of times there's a big rule of thumb. It's called the 10-10-10 rule. The first 10 miles is a phase of the race where it honestly shouldn't feel like racing. You should be excited, adrenaline rush, right? Then you have the next 10 miles, from miles 10 to 20. That's where things kind of get serious. You're locking into race pace. You're working, right? You're working through those hills. And then the last 10K, right, the 6.2 miles. So that's the last part where it's pretty much all guts, all heart. It's kind of what you have left in the tank. So usually those last, if I've run it properly, I've ran out in California where I ran 2:16:43, and it's been 10 miles, and that last 10K is really, if I was in the right position, starting to chop down my mileage and my pace. But that's where legs are starting to go, hamstrings are starting to fire off a little bit. You got to be a little bit careful so you don't tweak something. But that's usually the 10-10-10 rule.
I fell in love with the watch and the pace setting. Like looking at the watch, I went to the University of Michigan. I ran track up there, and like Nathan Brannon and some of those Nick Willis, those guys that were elite. How often are you checking your miles, checking your pace, checking your heartbeat, see where you're at? How often are you doing that?
It's funny you say that. I constantly remind myself to not look at it so much, because then you get in your head. And especially in a course like Boston where it's hilly, your pace is just a variable. It's going up and down, right? Usually on a flat course like a Chicago, you can lock into a pace and just be in there all day long. So I try to maybe look at it every mile what my split is. A lot of guys actually chunk it up to just every 5K, every 3.2 miles, because then they can just chunk it up kind of and look at it in that pace setting. But for Boston, it's a little bit different because you're going up, you're rolling down. You got to be careful.
Too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he talked about that second 10K. Baz told me someone in the chat wanted to know about that runner's high. That's kind of what we're talking about. It's you get out there, you're excited, but that second, that mid-level, you're kind of in that runner's, you're exhausting it.
Yeah.
And at the end, you're like, I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to the end.
You got any marathons under your belt, Doc?
Yeah, my bicycle.
Okay.
No, the other big
That'd
thing
be
is
good too. I mean, hell.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go all day on a bicycle. Run, I had to run. You know, my big running was I ran with the Olympic torch. We'll pull that out someday.
I gotta say, you always have it's a great random fact. It's a great random fact. I got some footage.
I was the man of the day for the Olympics in 2002. But anyhow, I want to talk about his Olympics. He did qualify for the Olympic trial because of his
216. Yeah,
his 216 and qualified for that.
Yeah.
So that is a big accolade that he did down in
Orlando. Yeah,
Disney,
last February. It was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Talking to Michael Blazek, he is going to run on Monday in the Boston Marathon. It's his first time running the Boston Marathon. 7 runners from the state of Michigan will be competing in the pro field, which will consist of 63 men. Dr. Jeff Pierce is with him. Michael, what would your advice be to anybody who has maybe dreamt of running a marathon that just says, you know, that's something I can't do. I wish I could do it. Where would you start?
Yeah. So you got to be in it for the long run. And what
no
I mean,
pun intended.
No pun intended. Yeah, very crafty there. But how many people have you met that are like, man, I didn't do anything, but then my girlfriend or so-and-so just invited me out to a 10K or a half marathon, so I just went and did it. And what usually follows after that, man, I'm so sore. I had such a bad experience. I'm never doing that again, right? Yeah. So if you want to get into running, you have to start slow. After college, I took a break from running. When I got back into it for marathon training, I said, look, if I'm going to do this right, it's going to be a 1.5-year process so I can even race or do a half marathon. So just take it slow, right? It's you're running every 2 days a week. You're running then 3 days a week. You're doing, you're just increasing your time in miles. So just take it slow and build into your cardio. That's the biggest thing. We talk about our cardio as an engine, right? Over time, you're building that engine, right? You're replacing the oil. You're getting it super, super fit, so then you can actually race well, not just go out there and try to survive. So that'd be my biggest thing.
But you also have to add in, which you maybe are, it's the muscle strength. Like I always say, I've picked on runners, so we'll pick on them here. Running cannot be your only sport. I mean, you become so thin. That's why these big guys from Kenya, there's no muscle on them. So it may be good for one sport, but sport specific. But you got to weight train for protection of your joints. You talked about joint stability and stuff like that. You know, that has to be part of the workout. Would you agree? I mean,
I would.
You want to do. You worry about muscle balance. You worry about not running when you're hurt, not changing your mechanics when you're hurt.
Oh yeah.
You gotta have good mechanics. You gotta look at what surfaces you're running on, and go from there.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bring it up because it's like, man, I don't want to do it because I'm like, man, I just want to go out there and run fast, right? But it's such a key ingredient is getting in the gym. That's one thing that I added for Boston is it's going to be more demanding than ever, right? I need to get in at least twice a week. So it's working on my hip flexors. I've got a really weak right hip flexor, so I've got to strengthen that. So it's, yeah, you don't even have one.
Matt, for those of you that didn't hear Matt, he just said he didn't have one.
It's core strength, right? It's working. It's some hex bar deadlifts. It's some kettlebell kickstands, just to strengthen everything from the quad to the hip flexors, knowing that the hills are going to be more demanding. And that's something because you're like, man, I just did my run for like an hour and a half. Now I got to go to the gym for like an hour.
Michael, this might be a silly question, but I imagine during your workouts, like when you're preparing for this, you're kind of by yourself, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's it like 31,000 plus participants.
Yeah.
Does the traffic of the runners get in the way of you, and that how does that play out for you?
Well, look, there's probably a lot of Michiganders that are headed out to Boston, and kudos to you guys for making it this far, because that is an achievement in itself. And navigating the course in itself is obviously mayhem at times. But I am very fortunate being a part of that pro field that we actually get to start a little bit earlier than everybody. So us 63 guys will start at 9:37 or so. And we get to start 20 minutes before everybody else. So, in quite honesty, yes, I'm running with 32, but it's kind of like I'm running with like 65 guys. It's one of the smallest marathons I've ever been a part of.
And then afterwards, do they give you a bowl of chowder?
I think we'll get a Sam Adams crew, that's for sure. Yeah.
I eat chowder. No, but you brought that up. I mean, a lot of it, like for triathletes, like the biggest thing is in the water for triathletes. So, yeah, I mean, some people are clash. They don't like anybody right next to them, too, especially when you train all by yourself.
Absolutely.
All the time.
You kind of get in the zone, and that's pretty cool for us is we get, it's called elite bottles. I don't know if you've heard about this, but pros, they actually set out 6 bottles for you along the race course with your nutrition. So I usually have something like, it's called Scratch or Morton is what it is, and it's just a way to get carbs into your system. Because what usually happens is your glucose levels only last about 90 minutes. That's why when people bonk in a marathon, right, it's usually about the 20-mile mark. But it's also
they cramp.
Or they're cramping. They're not hydrating. You don't have the carbs in there or the sodium. So that's why you have to take gels or you have to take bottles. So that's why I'm fortunate to be a part of that elite company. So I'll have bottles out there. I can just snag and guzzle down some carbs and hopefully make it through the rest.
I wish we had the Seinfeld thing where Kramer hands out the coffee.
That's Maz.
Well, you got to ask Maz about that. Maz knows every Seinfeld episode there is.
Before we get you out of here, tell me about the Assistant Director of External Engagement and Corporate Optics.
Yeah.
What does that entail? What do you do there?
Yeah, what I do. So I work for Corporate Optics. We're a corporate communications and event company. So yeah, we put on a lot of events.
Who runs that company?
I work with my sister.
Go.
It's a family business. Us and Steve Simmons. So a lot of respect for my team. But yeah, if you've got a company out there that's looking to put on a corporate event, a meeting of any size, we're your people. So I help organize those.
That's awesome. You got it.
And he'll never say he's exhausted working. So
there we go.
Hey, Michael, keep us. Maybe we'll have Nicole do it, but keep us up to date on what happens on Monday. Love to let everybody know on Monday. What happened.
That's why I asked him. I said, "You want to do it before the run or after?"
Right.
Let's do it before.
He says, "Let's do it before."
That's fantastic. Well, thank you both for being here. All three of you. Sister Nicole's off camera right now. She's tremendous as well. Dr. Pierce, you rock.
I'm trying.
Michael,
try and keep it real here.
Michael, you run.
There we go.
Break a leg. Well, I don't know what the saying is in my business. It's break a leg, but we'll say.
No.
Appreciate it.
What do you say? Good luck.
Thank you.
I guess absolutely.
Can't wait
Boston
to watch.
Marathon. No doubt about it.
Wait, we just got a bit from Maz saying that the Seinfeld runners from Trinidad, John Paul.
John Paul, he overslept.
Yeah, he overslept.
Yeah.
It was the volume.
Yeah, the volume.
That's great.
You're not the only one to miss an alarm before him.
WSN Injury Insider, Michigan Sports and Spine.com. Tigers give it another go tonight, Braylon. Maybe Riley Green will get a hit tonight.
All right. Maybe. I wrote this down somewhere, but I got excited into this conversation. Anyway, I was going to say player A and player B. If you look at Riley Green's stats, you would think it's Javi Baez. If you look at Javi Baez's stats, you would think it was Riley Green. 28, 30 strikeouts for Riley Green. Come on, Riley. Get a hit today, baby.
Go, Riley.
Let today be Riley's day.
Hey, Spenny, close us out today,
We can talk about mental stuff for baseball players.
We'll do that next week.
I like it. Javi found his mental.
Hey, I appreciate all you guys tapping in. Make sure you smash that like button. It's Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Heavyweights coming up next. Thanks for tuning in on Woodward Sports.